everyone, in this video I'm going to walk you through how my book notes and quotes template works. I affectionately call it the library since it is where I store my references that I would later like to come back to. Even though I called it a book notes template because it is primarily used for book notes, I also use this template for other things like YouTube videos or quotes that I just find myself pondering over, and you'll see this as I go through the template. This template has 4 parts, which are the food for thought section, the quote list section, the book summary section, and the template explanation section, which I will explain in detail in this video so you understand your template. There is a free and paid version of this template. The paid version will have my book summaries on books that I've read and all the quotes that I've accumulated. The paid template is only €2 in the first year but will increase by €1 per year. In return, though, anyone who buys this paid template will get yearly updates on my book summaries and quotes per year for the rest of your waking life. That payment is a one-off payment to a regularly updated template, and of course, paying for a template means a lot to me. When I made this template, I actually made book summaries for only 2 books thus far, but I'm definitely planning to read more than 2 non-fiction books this year. And actually, I read 8 non-fiction books last year, but read them before I made this template. So please consider the yearly updated book notes and quotes templates should you wish to have a nice thorough book summary and quotes ready-made for you from books such as Atomic Habits, Deep Work, and Unlimited Power, among future others. As a note, if you get the paid template, please fill out the form at the bottom that asks for your email, and this will be how I will send you your yearly updated template. In the free version though, all library sections will be available, which is the quote list, book summaries, and template explanation, and I'll provide you with 25 of the quotes I've referenced in the quote list, as well as 1 book summary which will be Deep Work by Cal Newport. Now that I've explained the differences between the free and paid version, I will now explain how each section works. So the food for thought section will basically show 1 random quote that you've put in the quote list section. It will also change every time you refresh the page, as you can see here. This section was made so that you can recall your notes more easily and review them on the daily. When I'm chilling in my library tab, I actually find it pretty fun to just refresh a tab from time to time, so I really like this feature of the template. Next is the quote list section. This area lets you see the author of those quotes, the source of it, topics they cover, and what the actual quotes are. The quote list section is designed in a way to let you have an overview of all the quotes that you've recorded so far. The current amount of quotes you see is 25, but if you'd like to see more, you can click on the 3 dots at the top right-hand corner of the quote list database. Click on load limit, where you can see it's currently at 25 pages. Then change it to whatever you want, 10 pages being the least amount, and 100 pages being the most amount. To add something to the quote section, I'll use the example of George Orwell's Animal Farm quote, "All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal." So first we'll click on the plus new section here, and then a new cell row will pop up. From here you can put the author George Orwell, the source which is Animal Farm, and the quote. For the topic I will choose fiction and quotes. From here I will go back to the cell of the author, and once you hover your mouse over it, there should be something that says open. Click on this and you'll actually see the page of the quote. In order to see the quote in the food for thought area, we need to also have the quote in the body of this page. So to do this, you easily click the copy button next to the quote in the quote properties and then paste it in the body. If you want, you can set an icon for the page, and I personally like to do this. So for Animal Farm, I will choose a pig. If you know why I chose the pig, you can thumbs up or like the video. If the quote came from a book that you made a book summary for, you can add the link to a book summary. I made a book summary for Atomic Habits, so if I click on a quote that came from Atomic Habits, you can see that the book summary property is populated by the book summary page that I made for Atomic Habits. And when I click on it, it will take me to the book summary. This was made just in case you'd like to see the book summary of a quote, if you made one. I just want to note that you shouldn't have to be afraid of not including a source or author if there is not any. You can see in my template that there are some things without authors or sources. Sometimes that's just the way it is, and that's okay. Anyway, you can use the filter to find topics that you are interested in. So say that I want to find my quotes on motivation. I'll click on filter, click on plus add filter, click on the three dots that say 5 more, click on topic, and then we'll choose the motivation option. And then from here, you can see that it only shows the quotes that are under the topic motivation. I've also allowed a multi-select for this feature, so you can choose more than one category for the quotes of your choice. To then delete this filter, click on the motivation filter, click the three dots in the top right hand corner of the pop-up box, and from here you can press on delete filter. When you're changing things, the food for thought section might come up as a blank. This also happens when you click on library sections because each separate header takes you to the top and the library sections take you to other headers. When we go back up, you can see that the food for thought section is now blank. I don't have any explanation for this at the moment, but to fix this, you can basically just refresh a page if you have it as a tab, or you can navigate to a different page, then come back to this page if you don't use the tabs. In this page, you can see that there are hidden properties. These hidden properties are basically the back end of the template and help link the quote list to the food for thought section. More specifically, it is these filters over here. So I highly recommend that you never ever change these properties, okay? Please promise me you'll never change these properties or suffer the consequences of your own actions. Slightly joking, but you can try to troubleshoot this by clicking on filter, add filter, filter by data type, then choosing quotes. So I'll delete everything and then after I'll show an example of how to get these filters back. And then for the other filter, choose the randomizer helper property, click on the page helper, and everything should return back to normal. Just don't try to delete them properly because that will seriously wreak havoc on your template. If that really happens though, you can always download the free version again or wait for the yearly update if you got the paid template. The next section is the book summaries. This area is primarily made for when you have many quotes, notes, or references from the same source. I extract my book notes digitally from an app straight to Notion, which I explain in the video that I've linked in the top right hand corner of this video. Please note that you can see here that the header says title and author in brackets. In the quote list section, this area is populated by the author, but in this section, the area is populated by the book name. And the source and title author property is essentially reversed here. This is because the book summary and quote list database are the same and share the same properties to make the template cleaner to work with. So just kind of remember this when you are working with your book summary and quote list areas. So in this section, you will need to fill out the title, which in this section will be the name of the book instead of the author. And then the author, which will be under the source, the topic of the book, which so far has been self-improvement, but you can add more topics later as necessary. If you want, you can put the date where you finish the title. I like to do that, but you can forgo this if you want. So then I open the page. I'll show you how I do my own book summaries. I ultimately want to preface this by saying this is your template, so ultimately take my advice and change it if you need to. This will be your template, so you should make your template most suited to you as you want. To start off, I will do a quick synopsis of the book in my own words, which I will call the book summary. I like to do this since I generally make a lot of highlights in the books that I read, and I like how this condenses the information that I learn in a short description. After this, I make a table of contents. You can do this in Notion by pressing the front slash, then typing table of contents. Notion will then automatically make a table of contents based on the headers you've chosen, so I would suggest adding this table of contents at the end of editing your book summaries. I usually have a table of contents because, like I said before, I like to make a lot of highlights. I highlight each chapter of the book, so this actually makes it easier to categorize my highlights in the book to specific points. So if you're a highlighter like me, I would suggest always trying to catch the name of each chapter to categorize your book notes easier. This is especially applicable for nonfiction. Sometimes I'll change the color of each chapter header if there are a lot of subheadings under that chapter, but it's not always necessary. At this point, I try to organize the notes in a way that I feel makes sense and is structured. But since each book is structured differently, I would say this isn't always the same. For example, my Atomic Habits summary is very different to my Deep Work summary because they are books that are formatted very differently. So I would say keep this in mind when you are making your book summaries nice, neat, and organized. If you have certain specific points from the book that you'd like to see as individual quotes, I would then take these quotes and add them individually to the quote list section. You can actually see that I got a bunch of quotes from Atomic Habits that I liked and added them to the quote list section. You can also see that I linked them to the book summary page just in case I felt like overviewing the book again after seeing the quote. In general, I really like how the book summary and quote list section synergize with each other very well. The last part of the template is the template explanation, which I will embed this video to just in case you need a refresher on how to use this template, because I know it has quite a lot of components to it. If you have the paid version, this is where you need to supply your email address so I can update your template yearly with the latest information that I've gathered. I've also linked an article of how to use this template if you wish to read how this template works instead of watching a video. This section also has a feedback form should you wish to let me know if there's anything that can be improved from the template, or if you want to suggest a book for me to read. So that's it in terms of explaining how this template works. If you watched this video because you have downloaded the template and wanted to know how it works, I'd like to thank you graciously for downloading my template, and it really means a lot to me. If you watched this video to get ideas as well though, I don't mind, and I hope this video has left you inspired with great ideas for your own Notion library. If you like the info in this video and would like more productivity tips and Notion templates, please consider subscribing and liking this video. Also, if you have anything you want to ask, feel free to comment down below. What book would you like to make a book summary on? I'd love to know. Anyways, have a fantastic and productive day.